People have always had a great appreciation for terrible movies. Films like The Room and Troll 2 have become cult classics due to their unique brand of awfulness, inspiring late-night screenings and a fervent fan culture of ironic enjoyment for what most would consider to be cinematic excrement. Morbius, the Living Vampire, the third film in Sony's attempt to create their own cinematic Spider-Verse following Venom and its sequel. After numerous COVID delays, Morbius was unleashed upon a superhero-craving public on April 1st, 2022, and proceeded to both underwhelm financially and critically, making a paltry $163 million and hitting an abysmal 17% Rotten Tomatoes score. Despite having everyone's favorite Oscar-winning actor Jared Leto in the lead, Morbius could not get butts into seats, and it's not surprising Morbius was a mediocre movie that nobody wanted. Even among the great pantheon of mediocre superheroes, Morbius was not a particularly beloved character. At best, maybe some 90s kids remember him from the long multi-episode arc from the 1994 animated Spider-Man cartoon, but I don't think even the most ardent comic collector was begging to see him on the big screen. But then something weird happened. Like a great cosmic joke, the spirit of April Fools itself rose up to bless this beleaguered movie. Morbius became a meme. First, it was the Morbius sweep. Then it's Morbin time. People pretended to obsess over this movie in the most irony-dripping form of internet condescension. But it just kept on growing and growing to the point where someone live-streamed the movie on Twitch on repeat for 24 hours and had over 2,000 people watching it concurrently, screaming the infamous invented catchphrase, "It's Morbin time!" Now the movie, thanks to its viral breakout success, is back in thousands of theaters for the internet memesters to enjoy ironically with a non-ironic money as they shout "It's Morbin time" every time Jared Leto comes on screen. Of course, no one showed up because the whole joke is people only like the movie ironically, causing the movie to flop for a second embarrassing time. But a few months later, the sequel to the original Minions movie, The Minions Rise of Gru, opened to another trend. Hordes of Gen Z Zoomers stormed into theaters wearing suits and tuxedos, following the Tik Tok hashtag gentleminions, pretending to watch the film as high art. One trend led to the success, the other trend abject failure. What makes a meme movie? How did Morbius, a mediocre try-hard product, become, for a hot second, the internet's favorite punching bag? But Rise of Gru became an actual profitable trend. Well, join me as we break down the memes of Morbius, because it's Morbin time, baby.
Time to talk! No, it's Morbin time.
Citizen Kane ripped off Morbius. If you don't believe me, go see Morbius. It's in theaters now. 1 trillion tickets sold.
Whoa!
I want 2 tickets to Morbius. I'm dressed like Morbius right now.
All the seats in the theater are available. Let's go!
Oh, here we go.
Someone is legitimately streaming the full Morbius movie on Twitch right now. In the autism category.
So to fully understand Morbius, we need to travel back in time a bit. Because believe it or not, this meme is one with history.
What we do here is go back.
We need to go back to the Marvel bankruptcy. Back in 1996, Marvel Comics filed Chapter 11. They were eventually salvaged thanks to a merger with Ike Perlmutter's Toy Biz, but the damage was done. They'd been forced to auction off the film rights to some of their best characters to several movie studios, with the ever-so-lucrative Spider-Man going to Sony, where he remains to this very day. Spider-Man as a character has been so successful that we've seen 3 separate generations of Spider-Man hit theaters, but Sony's ambitions for the wall crawler were always bigger. For the longest time, they wanted to not just have Spider-Man movies, but a Spider-Man cinematic universe of interconnected films. This is something they've wanted all the way back to the Tobey Maguire trilogy. They've always wanted a Sinister Six series of films that they've been trying to pull off forever, not to mention the Aunt May spinoff that was being queued up to follow the Amazing Spider-Man's Aunt May in her younger years as some kind of secret agent spy. Yes, this is real. This was a real movie that real Hollywood producers wanted to make. As ridiculous as that may seem, I remind you that there's also an entire prequel TV series about Batman's butler Alfred in his younger years that's about to go into its 3rd season. I have never met anyone who has claimed to have watched it or been a fan, but I can assure you this is something that exists and is a real piece of television. a real version of the parody from the Teen Titans movie.
The army? I'll have no more to do with it now. I want to be my own man.
Alfred, the movie.
I didn't get your name.
Pennyworth. Thomas Wayne. Things go pear-shaped. I'll do my best to keep you alive.
Ultimate grime fighter.
It's a coup d'etat. As a rule, if you have to use French words for something, I don't like it.
When the dust settles, only one man will be left dusting. Coming broom.
To this date, there are literally a dozen different movies in development, all either based around Spider-Man or based off of obscure characters within the Spider-Man universe, like Kraven the Hunter, El Muerto, Madame Web, Silk, Untitled Female cast into the Spider-Verse spin-off, Black Cat, Silver Sable, Nightwatch, and Jackpot. Some of these are in development in hell, some of these are real movies that are moving forward, but amidst this burgeoning cinematic universe is, of course, Morbius, the second Sony Spider-Man movie to make it to the big screen after the surprising success of Venom. Morbius tells the story of a brilliant scientist with a rare blood disorder, Michael Morbius, who through the use of experimental techniques transforms himself into a vampire who needs to feast on the blood to stay alive, but also becomes a superhero protecting people from the generic goons and another copycat villain with the same power set. Morbius is played by Academy Award winner Jared Leto, acting against Matt Smith as the film's villain. And for all intents and purposes, Morbius is a mediocre, terrible superhero movie. Nothing super remarkable. This is a character no one particularly liked, whose most iconic depiction came from the Spider-Man cartoon series from the 90s.
My hand! Pain! Made me feel stronger. I feel energy surging through me. I can hear every heartbeat around me, and I can defy gravity. No! My face! Skin translucent, nasal structure distorted. I have got to reverse this. Please don't! Back off! What do you think you're up to, creep? Leave me alone!
Venom's popularity makes sense. He's basically an evil Spider-Man with H.R. Giger body horror superpowers. Morbius is a character and a movie nobody asked for, starring an actor who's become especially loathed in recent years due to a number of controversies and also a reputation of going through absurd lengths for his method acting approach. Like how he'd send dead animals and used condoms to his cast members during the filming of Suicide Squad. Even in Morbius, he'd go as far as to wear crutches off camera and pissed off the crew by taking up to an hour to hobble his way to use the bathroom. The director of the movie, Daniel Espinosa, was even forced to defend these artistic choices in interviews, replying, "Yeah, because I think what Jared thinks, what Jared believes, is that somehow the pain of those movements, even when he was playing the normal Michael Morbius, he needed because he's been having this pain his whole life. Even though he's alive and strong, it has to be a difference. Hey man, it's people's processes." Obviously, this is stupid, made even dumber seeing how this method acting extreme is being used for what is obviously a terrible movie. So we have a movie with a character nobody likes, with an actor who the tides of public opinion have turned sour, made by a studio desperately trying to crib association with the far more beloved MCU-produced Spider-Man Home trilogy. So all these factors are compounded together to basically, how should I put this? Okay, so I had a good friend in college who was kind of a goth guy. In our senior year, there was this freshman who, for reasons I will never understand, seemed to think that we were far cooler than we were, and would just kind of follow us around like a little puppy. For whatever reason, he glommed onto my buddy and started to dress up goth like him. I have no idea why he did this. I don't think we were ever really the cool group who anyone wanted to emulate, but for some reason, little Timmy just wanted to follow him and decided to max his credit card at Hot Topic to buy all the black and get some chains and choker collars. That is what the movie of Morbius is. It is the awkward guy who desperately wants to be at the cool kids table, but is just trying so hard he comes across as the ultimate goddamn poser. And the more the movie tries to force its Spider-Verse connection by referencing Venom, showing off Michael Keaton in the trailer, and also having posters calling Spider-Man a murderer to connect to the end of Far From Home.
I am Venom.
Just the more uncool it seems. At this stage in the game, the audience is well trained enough to know what the real MCU is, which movies are actually part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They sort of know that anything Sony does is the off-brand. It's the Chinese toy knockoff. It's this strange brew that combined together to turn Morbius into something greater than the sum of its parts. It transformed Morbius into the meme of 2022. The meme started slowly in 2021 when in a Discord server someone posted about Morbius being a sweep for award season, critical praise, and financial box office. The sheer irony of liking a movie that seems so spectacularly mediocre pushed the meme further. 200% Rotten Critics rating, 1 trillion tickets sold, Martin Scorsese loves it. Ironic appreciation for bad films is nothing new. What makes it interesting is you could argue that Vin Diesel's Bloodshot also fits the same bill, but did not enjoy the same kind of resurgence of meme relevance as Morbius. But then again, Morbius also had the benefit of being delayed in the pandemic, so theater goers were assaulted with like 4 different trailers for Morbius over the course of 2 years. And because the movie is so tryhard in every aspect, is just what makes it feel so memeable. It's the kid at the lunch table who constantly has a different lunchbox trying to latch on to any present trend just so he can sit at the cool kids table. Venom was a success because it was dumb and goofy, with people enjoying Tom Hardy's bumbling buffoon version of Eddie Brock, who best I could say was playing a blue-collar cosplay. But people like the gooey horror aspect of Venom. Morbius has nothing going for it, well, except maybe this.
Have size, excel. The fully casual. Put my yes, yes. Put my 10 to 10. Put my spend. Have size, excel. Put my yes.
In a way, this weird, dumb, awkward dance scene is the perfect encapsulation of everything Morbius represents. It's why the film built an ironic following despite not really deserving one. It is being memed into so many other movies. But the ironic success could only take you so far, unlike the Minions, which started as a trend by a bunch of high schoolers going to a formal, or prom in Australia, and then going to see the movie while dressed up in their suits, which kicked off a huge trend of young men dressed up and going out to see the Minions, becoming the gentleminions hashtag. But there's a key difference between Morbius and Minions. While I'd say the critical reception was mostly pretty mixed for Minions, the Illumination Machine has basically scientifically designed the perfect cartoon character for mass appeal. They work as the perfect tool for slapstick fodder. They are the ultimate mascot. Basic bitch normies can use them on the Facebook laced with boomer memes, and edgy kids can enjoy them ironically and use them for all kinds of subversive comedy to fit any kind of ideological persuasion. It's why the Minions are $1 billion intellectual property. Also, the pandemic seemed to work in the movie's favor. The first Minions movie was released back in 2015, meaning it's been over 7 years, giving many of the children who grew up watching the Minions time to become teenagers on Tik Tok, ready to ironically, unironically consume the Minions in droves as they bring bananas to screenings and act with obnoxious enthusiasm towards every little moment, even going so far as to get some theaters to ban teens trying to capitalize on the trend. Now, this is the kind of viral marketing most Hollywood films would kill for. The kind Sony wishes for when they released the Morbius back in theaters for a second time, only to see it bomb for a second time. Both of these trends revolve in ironic consumption, but one is actually an organic fandom while the other is mocking trend, where the idea is to pretend this unbeloved derivative superhero thing does have a fandom that can't get enough of the cinematic excellence behind Morbius. 2022 has become a year of the meme movie with 2 films on opposite ends of the spectrum. Neither are high art, but the ironic joke is to pretend that they are, and you could almost say it's a populist retaking of cinema just through the prism of irony. There's always been a distinction between high-class and low-class cinema. Every era has seen critics beleaguered by the uninformed tastes of the masses. The 80s blockbuster was considered to be vapid wasteland of excess, but now there's the great boom of 80s nostalgia and people pining for the era that brought them the best of Spielberg, along with RoboCop. The 90s was considered to be even bigger and dumber than the 80s, but it also brought a huge indie boom which saw filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino, David O. Russell, and Wes Anderson, and I guess to a lesser extent Kevin Smith, to all become household names, but with Martin Scorsese erupting a minor cultural firestorm by saying that Marvel movies were no better than theme park rides. The idea that prestige A24 movies as being the only valid form of cinema is something that has been met with its own cultural backlash, with many decrying Martin Scorsese's dismissal of Marvel. And maybe that's the core of the meme movie, to take all of the pomp and pretense and fandom around these things people love or have enjoyed in intellectual circles and draping it over mainstream trash. It happened with The Room, it happened with Troll 2, but in our accelerated cultural climate, it was only a matter of time to not apply it to a cult bad movie, but rather something contemporary and commercial. Surprisingly, the meme of Morbius has not disappeared, even with Jared Leto getting in on the joke.
What are you reading? Nothing really. Just
And the Gentleminions has been very profitable, encouraging even big YouTube personalities like Mr. Beast to get in on the action. I'm sure marketing people will learn all the wrong lessons trying to make challenges go viral on TikTok, but the meme movie has proven that sometimes you can turn someone else's trash into your own treasure. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you like my breakdown of the rise of the meme movie. Which did you like better, Morbius or Minions? Assuming you bothered to watch both of these movies. Or better yet, which made the best memes? Was it Morbius or the hashtag gentleminions? Marble over the comment section and let me know your thoughts. A special thank you to my generous patrons, the memesters, who are the only people who keep on supporting me until we eventually reach a lobster magnet sweep over YouTube. I'm of course talking about my patrons, enjoyer of dank memes, Joseph Malty, Aaron Tony, Carla Hoffman, Walking the Steps, Shonen Ronan, and Eric Duquesne. Remember, do what the algorithms and the math demand.
Algorithms! Math!
Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you whenever I finish my next video.